I love coffee. I have a close connection relationship to it. I love drinking black coffee. I just love the way it tastes. But I love it a little bit too much. They say when you love something, it's good to let it go for a little while. And it's so interesting to have this little voice in my head that is just aching for me to go get some. It's like, why can't you go without for a little bit? It kind of reminds me of the same thing with fasting. It also reminds me of going to the gym, and you know how you start to go to the gym and then you have the little voice trying to talk you out of things. It's so fascinating. Is that that's our biochemistry. That's like our gut bacteria. Our gut bacteria in our gut control our thoughts. You know, best book I ever read on this topic was Brain Maker by Dr. David Perlmutter. But it's like these little gut bacteria, they need to be fed. They rely on your bad habits, you know, and they call for us. They call for us to be going into the pantry at 10 p.m., you know, right when we're about to go to sleep, right? Like, I'm going to throw a wrench in my metabolism by going to the pantry and snacking on everything at 10 p.m. I struggled with this for years. I've struggled with food. I was addicted to Ben and Jerry's, addicted to Cane's, chicken fingers, you know, like whatever it is. I have a highly addictive personality, and I think a lot of people can relate to this because we're set up to be dopamine addicts now. But this thing with the coffee is just like, this for me is a sort of exercise and a practice, but I also needed to just like take a break from it. Like I said, I think it has amazing benefits, cognitive benefits. It can stimulate autophagy, the cleansing process of the body, but it also is a drug. It's a stimulant. It is a central nervous system stimulant. So what I can tell from just giving it up for you, even for the last 4 days, is that like I'm sleeping so much better, waking up and just feeling more ready to go, not as tired. And I've always had a lot of energy, so you know that's not really like my issue. My issue is just like, why do you love this thing so much that you can't let it go, you know? And it it has an effect on the biochemistry. So what would happen if I just took a break from it? So, and I've noticed that my sleep has improved, and you know, I don't know. It's just we we get caught up in these habits and they control our life. You know, we don't realize that like our thoughts are being controlled by tiny trillions of tiny little cells. And then beyond that, there's another trillion of cells just in our gut bacteria alone. Like, it's really amazing that we are in this constant state of forgetfulness. You know, we forget. Like, when we think we're hungry, it's like, I'm hungry. It's like when I go look in the mirror, I look at a body, but it's trillions of cells. You know, it's all these little processes that are happening. And you know, I always think about how like we greatly underestimate the amount of nutrition that we need, and we also are so stimulated in our environment. So not only are we underestimating and not eating nutrient dense foods, but we are also way overstimulated in this constant phase of depletion, or the catabolic state of our metabolism. So we're supposed to be balanced, catabolic, anabolic. You know, one of you know, our metabolism is breaking down or it's growing and expanding. And the issue where the rubber meets the road is that you'll look at like a tumor growth or cancer cell, anything that will grow in the body. And the reason that it would grow is because it has a constant stimulus to be growing. So we get imbalanced in this catabolic, anabolic side, you know, through constantly eating, through, you know, insulin, for instance, is like one of our biggest growth factor signals to the body. So when we're constantly stimulating that, having that elevated, and this goes to blood sugar too, right? Like why do I need insulin to be stimulated? Because there's excess blood sugar in my bloodstream. Either I'm eating a lot of sugar, processed food, I'm really stressed because stress can release our blood sugar, or I'm, you know, participating with stimulants and secreting a lot of blood sugar there. It's raising my cortisol, raising my insulin. So, you know, just trying to take a little break because I feel like I really needed to. And with the carnivore diet, I just feel like it was, you know, you feel everything a little bit more intensely, I would say. Like, carnivore diet is great if you are a sensitive individual. If you are a very sensitive person, it is a great diet. Just even for like a majority of the day, like you don't have to be perfect. Even when you go and you look at ketogenic diets, like they say even just 100 grams of carbs per day, you can still be in ketosis. So it's really, ketosis is measured, and that's our fat burning instead of burning just glucose. Ketosis is measured by our stress and like, I don't know. It's also like I always believe that like our belief in ourselves and in our life plays a huge part on all the biochemistry. So like life is beautiful. It's always offering opportunities, and that's a huge difference in my biochemistry than if I think that everything's out to get me and nothing's working out. So anyway, it's kind of my little journey today, and I do feel a lot more calm. I didn't feel calm when that voice was whispering in my head. I was really freaking out, not gonna lie. I had to go sit outside and just close my eyes, but you know, there's a lot of reasons to reach for something to stimulate us. There's a lot of reasons to not sit with ourselves, not sit with our own respiratory rate, our breath, our body, to feel what's going on in the inside. It's like the world wants to pull us outside of ourselves. Go do this, go drink this, go eat this, go exercise, move. I've had addictions to movement. People have addictions to movement. A lot of the time people do. Especially right now, you'll see that people trade one addiction for another. And it is good to go from a bad addiction, let's say, to a healthier addiction like exercise. But anything in too much is also harmful for us. Like, that's what the biochemistry tells us over and over. Anything in too high of a dose is a poison. Any cure in excess is a poison. And that is just, it's so beautiful because it makes it so much more challenging. Like, there's no, you can put all those bad habits, you can swing them over and put them into this other category over here, but there still has to be some balance, and that is the complexity of Mama Nature, and that we have to always, there's no easy way, there's no one size fits all, it's always a balance. And that's why I like the ketogenic and carnivore diet, because animal proteins, they have every single amino and fatty acid that we need, every single vitamin, mineral, and nutrient in the proper dose. So like I said, you don't have to be perfect with it either. To be in ketosis is a state of the biochemistry, whether we're burning fat or blood sugar. People who are more sensitive tend to get kicked out of ketosis more often, and they have things like keto mojos and stuff that you can measure your ketones. I personally don't measure my ketones. I measured my blood sugar for a little while, like a bunch of years ago. I was really on top of like trying to figure out what I was doing. But we always make things so complicated. Like same thing with nutrition, exercise, everything. People will come to me years ago when I was training. This is one of the reasons why I stopped for a little while. I'd say, how much water do I need to drink? How much of this do I need to? I'm like, the only plan is that there is no plan. The only plan is that you have to keep adapting and experimenting and changing and moving. Let's say you can be so consistent with everything that you're doing and it works out great for you. Boom. One day, you have to adapt. You have to do something different. You may have a single event in your life, like someone very close to you passing away, or you just lose a friend. That scenario in life will bring in a huge amount of grief, and that will change your biochemistry. So you can be doing the same things, but it may not work for you in that season of life. So it's always good to adapt and change. But with the animal proteins, you are getting everything that Mama Nature requires us: iron, selenium, zinc, the full profile of amino and fatty acids. So I feel like that is a really powerful tool to have. It's medicine. Food is medicine. But yeah, I don't measure things because I try not to overcomplicate it. Like if you If you go outside in the morning and you witness the sunlight, we know that's good for our circadian rhythm and all of our biochemistry. If you just go out for a second and witness the light, if we're eating all of our amino and fatty acids, I'm doing good there. I'm getting in most of my medicine right there. If I continuously, if I meditate, I know that that's good for my biology. I know that's good for my immune function. I know that it's good to stay connected with myself. If I exercise, if I walk, if I lift weights, I know these things are good for me. So it's like it becomes neurotic. We always try to track everything and count it out. And like, especially women, our bodies, our hormones fluctuate. So we have to pay attention to the environment, and within any given day, what do I feel like? Whereas men, they're on a 24-hour clock, and they relatively have the same exact hormone cascade every single day. Us women, we're on a 28-hour clock, so ours greatly fluctuates. And with given stress, if you've noticed in your life, which I've noticed in mine, when I am stressed or if I am not getting enough sleep within that month, it will mess up my cycle timing. So that's just really, it's always interesting to know your body as a woman is so beautiful. It is so, like, it's so different from men. Like, when you talk to a man and you experience and you tell him like what it feels like to be starting your period, how things change throughout the month, like, it will blow their mind, because a lot of men don't have that connection with their bodies like women do. We know if I ignore my nutrient demand the week before I'm about to start my period, my body's going to let me know. Cramps, fatigue, like extreme body temperature, like if my body's in a state of stress, it's going to show me. Men, again, are a little bit more resilient, right? And you can look at this with trends too, with like women being 40% more likely to have autoimmune issues. Our bodies call us to be in alignment with them, and I think that is so beautiful. So anyway, I'm gonna leave this here. I love you so much. I hope this video was helpful for you. You can change your biochemistry by changing your habits. That's why I'm making this video. If there's something that you are addicted to, something that you're very habituated to, that you would think would be hard to give up, take 7 days from it. Take 3 days. Just practice making a promise to yourself and fulfilling that promise, and just see how that works out for you. When we change our habits, again, we change our entire biochemistry. So that's why I named my business Habit Health. But anyway, if you need help, also someone to talk to, consulting with, I do that as well. So hit me up. I got my email in the description. But as always, I wish you the best of luck. And I'll be completely honest, as I was saying that, I was like, you don't need anybody. You really don't need anybody. But sometimes it's nice to talk to someone and to feel understood. So if that's something that you need, I am here for you in that case. But as always, I wish you the best of luck.